Hello. Today I will be talking about love and freedom, the only two goals anybody ever pursues. So, why do I say that? Well, the root to all emotions are love. Any emotion that we can feel is just the egoic perception of love at that moment. And what do I mean by that? Well, say you are a parent who has lost a child. The sorrow and pain you will feel is a reflection of the love you have for that child. And then what transforms the love into sorrow is that egoic perception of wanting to spend time and see that child grow up. And if you're angry, true anger comes from wanting the love for yourself or somebody else, and that you want to protect them, protect their boundaries, and protect what's going on. If you feel judgmental, that's also a form of protection. You need to protect something that's going on. Perhaps somebody is behaving in a way that you feel somehow threatens you, and so you feel the feeling of judgment and you want them to change. And all of these things are because emotions are inherently, to feel is to inherently feel that you're helpless to feel what you're feeling. You might have an idea that you can in the future feel in a different way, but right now you feel helpless. You're angry because you're angry. You're sad because you're sad. You're happy because you're happy. It's something that happens to you. That's the experience of emotions. And you feel that if just things were a certain way, you would be just able to love completely. And so your goal then to go the way of love, if you get lost on the way to love, you feel that things need to be a certain way, or you yourself needs to be a certain way, or your partner needs to be a certain way. The truth though is, if you ever heard the term unconditional love, what that actually means. That means just that you are in a place of love, you experience love, and from that place action arises. So the starting point is love, instead of the opposite, where you feel that something needs to happen so that you will get to love. You need perhaps your partner to give you some sort of validation, or you need people to think a certain way about you, or you yourself need to be a certain way. Perhaps you need to be pain-free from an illness, or you need to have a certain job, or succeed in a certain way. Then you will feel love. And when you twist it around, that you need to perform an action to then feel love, you inherently become helpless in your emotions. But the goal for emotional people, for people who strive this way, is to be able to feel love. And this is where the concepts get a little bit entangled, but they want to feel free to feel love. They feel restricted by thoughts, by judgments, by society, by how things are. And they feel that things need to be a certain way before they can accept themselves and just relax into love. So the secret with the path of love is to start with love and act from that place, live from that place. And so unconditional love, many people think that means having no boundaries. But that's not what it means. It means you live in love, but you are free to be yourself. That means if somebody acts in a certain way that is not your preference, judgmental thoughts might arise, but you are still in love. It doesn't matter if you judge them. It doesn't matter if you judge yourself. You start with love, and then the action that you will perform, they are beyond your control. Don't try to control your actions, but just allow them to be. If you don't want to be in a certain circumstance, then you leave, but you leave out of love. You never lose sight of being entrenched in love. And the opposite side is freedom. And if you like to study psychology, for example, you will notice that avoidant attachment style is a typical freedom searcher. They feel obligated to take care of people around them or themselves. And they need to take care of these emotions or these circumstances before they can relax into freedom. And what is freedom? Well, the highest form of freedom is the freedom to be yourself. Many people get lost on this too, of course, and the usual way is to believe that things need to be a certain way. You need to have a certain partner, you need to be in a certain way, and you need to have a certain amount of money, and perhaps people around you need to be a certain way before you feel free. Because your mind tells you that, oh, this is not my preference, this is not how I want it to be. And this preference keeps you locked into a feeling of being not free. But the truth is that freedom that you're searching for is only the freedom to be yourself. And what I mean by being yourself is to have the expressions and performing the actions that arise that you feel that is natural for you in that certain circumstance. Perhaps that is to speak your truth. That doesn't mean that people have to be in a certain way. You can just respond whatever arises within you. And you might think, oh, well, then I will say all these nasty things because I have all these judgments going on inside of me. But these judgments actually only arise because you don't feel free. And because you don't feel free, judgment arises in you, wanting people to be a certain way so that you can be free. And this is a tricky path. The freedom is to realize that you are free to be yourself. That requires no circumstance to be in a certain way. It requires no person to understand you, see you, or treat you a certain way. Because you can always respond what comes natural to you, but out of place of freedom. And here's the trick. When you feel free, when you are free to be yourself, all you will feel is love. All these kind of restraints you have on yourself, you believe things need to be a certain way for you to be happy. All those experiences of happiness, when things go your way, they are short-lived and they are small in comparison to the experience of being free to be yourself. I usually use the analogy with thought is the stupid version of understanding. What I mean by that is, for example, if you know how to ride a bike, you know how to do it, but when you try to explain it, the explanation will be pretty stupid, because there's a complex understanding going on inside of you that your consciousness naturally understands, which is a mix of feelings and thoughts, but also more than that. You perhaps can meet a person and instantly understand what's going on with that person. But if you try to explain it, for example, if somebody seems to be interested in you and you say, oh, they looked at me for like 2 seconds and they touched my hand a little bit, and people will be like, but that doesn't mean they can just be a physical person and they're happy to see you or just open and welcoming. But there are more layers to this understanding. There are so many subtle signs, and you can't really tell what it depends on. And understanding that this spoken intelligence, this spoken knowledge is stupid compared to the silent understanding. When you truly understand what I mean by that, you will also see that these feelings of love that comes from things being a certain way, compared to the love that when you start in love and then you express from that place, you will notice that the love that is unconditional, that is natural, that love is so much greater than the emotional responses to a specific circumstance. So to sum it all up, there are only 2 things that people ever want out of life. They want love and freedom. And you might say, no, I want to be a professional soccer player. But actually, you only want that to be able to feel free and loved. One of the 2 or both combined. They are both the same things. People just express it differently. And if you listen to how people speak, you will understand what it is they are looking for in this particular moment. We can talk about politics, for example. If you follow politics, you will notice that the left inside in the Republic, they are going the path of love primarily, with empathy, with caring, and through that to become free. And the right side politics, they go through the path of freedom. They want as little restrictions as possible so they can be free to be themselves, and from that place express their love. And so it's only two sides of the same coin. And when you are really deeply entrenched in the one path, the other side might seem really strange and really hard to understand. But once you understand that it's actually the same path, it only looks differently, then you will see the similarities and understand the common cause for all of us, the common goal. That's it for today. Thank you.